Hello, I'm back again, and this is the 18th of February, and my name is Adela, and I'm coming to you from Pretoria in South Africa. If you are interested in knitting and crochet, that is all this podcast is about, so very welcome. If you're a returning viewer and if you're a new viewer, welcome. Please remember to subscribe, and if you like what you see, I hope that you will return again, and then that you will press the like button, because if you do that, then maybe I can get more exposure on YouTube and other people can see me as well. As I said, I think today is the 18th of February. I'm not sure, it might be a day or two before I upload this video, depending on how long it takes on our slow internet. But it will eventually be uploaded. So I think it's again been about almost 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm going to try not to slow down again. I realize that if I can talk faster, I can show more. So I just want to say thank you very much for everyone who always comment on my videos, and I get nice comments, and I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate every view that I have, because although I think this will be episode 14, it's still not very easy for me. It takes me about a week to motivate myself to do a podcast every time. So thank you for watching and for returning, and for just for me to know that you are there. I've got a passion for what I do. I love to knit and crochet. I love to be creative, and I love to share my passion. I don't see a lot of what I normally do or like to do on podcasts. That's the only reason why I thought that I might try to podcast, because there's so many professional podcasts out there, and people with more experience and knitting beautiful stuff, but not the type of things that I'm really into. That's why I try to do this podcast, to share my view on things, on my view on my creative journey, if I can say it like that. The weather is nice. We had a lot of rain, but today was supposed to be a very nice sunshine day, but I think there is some clouds, so the sun will go behind the clouds now and again, but I can't have that reason again why I can't podcast today. And I want to show you some things, because what happens now is that I give some of my knitted or crochet items to people, and then after they've finished, and then I forget that I still have to show it on the podcast, or that I want to show it on the podcast. So that's why I want to do it today, because there's stuff that I want to give back to people who gave it, who I already gave it to, and then they give it back to me for the podcast, and something else I want to send off to someone. So I'm going to start. The first one is the Young, Scrappy and Cozy cowl that I showed you last time, that I finished. It's all in mosaic knitting. It's by Mary Annarella of LyricalKnits, and it was a really enjoyable knit. I really loved it. It's knit in Baah yarns, her 3-ply double knit, and it's very soft and very squishy. In my last episode, I did mention the color names, so I'm just showing this to you. I love the effect of the mosaic knitting a lot, and I can see a lot more mosaic knitting projects in my future. And she made a very nice video. If you really want to see how it's worn, she made a little video that's on her YouTube channel, where she shows you exactly how to wear it. It's a very nice, comfortable cowl, a drapey thing to wear in winter. So that's a Young Scrappy Cozy by LyricalKnits. And then the second thing I finished is, I haven't even shown it to you, I haven't even started it on the previous episode, is the Rebel 1 shawl by Knit Graffiti. Now there's one, the Rebel 1 and Rebel 2. Rebel 1 is a 1-color brioche, and Rebel 2 is in 2-color brioche. So let me just see, I think this is, there's no really a right and a wrong side, but this is what I think the right side will be. Just a little fluff here. So as you can see, it's more crescent shaped. When I really tried very hard to block out this little point here. It's supposed to block out, but I didn't block it aggressively. I don't really like stuff, as I said before, that's blocked that aggressively, and I really wanted these little bulbs. To me it looks like flower bulbs. I really wanted them to still be quite visible. So that's why I didn't block it too aggressively. And so now it's still got that small little point there, but that doesn't really bother me. I'm very, very happy with the outcome of this. It's a lot of knitting, as most shawls are, and especially these bulbs is 8-stitch decreases. It's an increase, it's a 8-stitch increase, and then you decrease, and then you do a 4-stitch decrease again. And that 4-stitch decrease is not my favorite brioche stitch to do, but I persevered, and I'm happy that because I wanted to leave out the last 4 rows of the repeat at the very end, and then I realized I can't do that because the last 4-stitch decreases will gather those stitches together, so you can't really leave it out. So I just sat down, and I think the last row of those stitches took me not less than an hour to do, but I'm happy I did it. So I'm very happy with this. It's in Miss Lamotte merino singles, and the colorway is Icarus All Sorts. I bought it online from Yarn ZA. It's an online shop here in South Africa, and unfortunately this yarn was shipped to me on a very sad day, as the most local people, local knitters and crocheters will know, because the shop owner, the same day she shipped me these yarns, she received very tragic news in her family. So it was a sad day in the fibre community in South Africa, and so I really felt that I immediately had to cast this on, just to keep her in my memories and in my mind for while I was working on this. So that is the Rebel 1 shawl by Knit Graffiti. As always, I will put the names in the down bar of the patterns and the designers. Then I decided to try and not cast on new things, or not, well, I did cast on 1 or 2 new projects, but not working on them, just casting them on and see if the idea I have or the yarn that I want to use will work, and then I put it aside again. I think it's those 2 that you can see there. I don't think I will be able to tell you about them today, and but when I've made some progress and I'm really happy with what with the project, I will probably show them in the next episode. But I try to concentrate on some current works in progress I still have. I've got quite a few, and one of the projects I really wanted to finish was the giant square scrap blanket that I showed you 1 or twice on previous episodes. And I casted it off. Sorry, I've got something in my throat. I cast it off, and I wanted to crochet a few rounds around the square to let it be to let it lie flat, because it was stocking stitch, because it's knitted in the round, it will tend to curl a little bit. And when I casted it off, I laid it flat, and it's got a bubble in the middle. There's something went wrong with my gauge, or I heard that it can be something about the way it's casted on in the middle, in the center. I'm not sure what caused it. I tried to steam block it, it didn't work, and I just decided that I'm going to frock the whole blanket. So sadly to say, it took me about 2 hours to frock a blanket that took me weeks to knit. But I think that's the story of any knitter's life. Felicia from SweetGeorgia Yarns had an episode on her vlog. You can really watch her vlogs. It's every Friday. I think it's called Taking Back Fridays. It's so inspiring. She weaves beautifully. She's so inspiring, and she's also always got some wisdom to share. And she got it from I think 64 Knit Studio. She got the saying, or the what can I call, the motivation for February to either frog it or finish something or forget about it. And I think that is what my February will also be about, is to frog, finish, or forget about it. So regarding my giant square scrap blanket, can we just have a moment of silence, please? This is most of it. Here's another one. I'm not sure what will happen to that now. I might use some of it in my northeasterly blanket. I haven't worked on that since I showed you just a small piece I had on my last episode. I might use some of it in there, but the northeasterly is actually for little scrap pieces, so that you can have a lot of changes, color changes in your yarn. So I will just maybe use the beginning parts of the giant Scrappy Square yarn in there, and then the rest will just wait for something else. This is a cute bag. I don't know if I've ever showed you that a friend of me, a very close friend, Heidi, she gave me this bag once, and she embellished it with all these cute crochet flowers. Years and years ago when we started to crochet, we loved to crochet these kind of flowers. And I still use this bag a lot. It's so nice for a project. And now this is hosting my frocked giant square scrap blanket. Okay, enough about that sad news. The other thing I decided to end is my Bits and Bobs blanket. I showed that to you last time as well. The more I knitted on it, the bigger it became wider. I think the more you knit a blanket like that in that stitch, it relaxes, and when it becomes heavier, it stretches out a little bit. And I casted it on 50 stitches more than was described for in the blanket pattern itself. It's the Bits and Bobs blanket by Kay Jones. And that was a big mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I realize that now. In Kay and Dan's from the Bakery Bears, in the last podcast episode, she talked again about the Bits and Bobs blankets, and I love it. I still want to make one. I'm more inspired than ever by making one. But I decided to cast off this one. I'm not going to frog it because I used mohair, and the Scapia Spirit I used is also a difficult yarn to frog, and I've weaved in some ends as well already. So I don't want to frog it. So I decided to just cast it off, and it is now a wrap. It's now a Bits and Bobs wrap. But you can see now how wide it is. Can you see what I mean? But I think it's a lovely wrap. I really do. I think I love it actually, and it's so soft and cozy and squishy. Look at that. So I'm not at all sad actually about casting this off, because it's so lovely and so cozy and squishy. So if you are not into making blankets, but you want to make a wrap with this pattern, I can really recommend it. Because and if you use some softer yarns and some mohair, and in this, I don't know if I think I showed you last time on the podcast, there's some yarns with a little bit of bling in, little bit of lyrics in. I don't think maybe you can see it there. So that's why I also think it's ideal to being a wrap. I think what you can also do with this one is too wide, but I think it will make a perfect poncho as well. I think it's still possible to do that if you maybe stitch together that piece like that and wear it as a poncho. I will see about that, but at the moment I think it's a lovely and squishy and very nice wrap. So that was my Bits and Bobs blanket. It's now my Bits and Bobs wrap. So there's two items. I see there's still some little bit of ends that I have to weave in or cut off. So that's two projects, blanket projects that are no more. But I'm over it, and I've got enough other projects that will keep me happy and occupied. One that I can show you, I've showed you before, is the 1 row a day blanket that I'm crocheting. I'm doing 1 row a day, and I'm still on track. I'm really keeping at it. It's just 200 half double crochet stitches. So it's very easy and very meditative and very brainless, and nothing to think or count or whatever. So I really like it. I'm busy, the yarns I'm busy with at the moment, as I said before, I use 3 different yarns at the same time, 1 row each. So at each side there's a yarn waiting, plus the one that I'm busy with. So I'm busy with this cotton. It's all mostly from Oneofakind Yarns. So this is the cotton. I'm using it on its own. And then I'm using this leftover. It's 2 strands. The one is a cotton strand, and I think the other one is a viscose or a bamboo. I'm not sure. It was a once off from Oneofakind Yarns. I'm using a 3.5 millimeter needle because I want it to be quite dense. And the third yarn I'm using is actually a double strand because they are thinner. So to get the same thickness of yarn than the other 2 I'm using these 2 together. So this is a bamboo lace, and this is what Oneofakind Yarns called Urenda. It's a mix, a blend, true blend between a cotton and a bamboo. So I'm using these 2 together to get the same thickness as the other 2 that I'm using. So this is my one. I'm doing 1 row a day, and I'm very happy with it, and I'm doing my bit every day on this, and it keeps me I like to work on different projects. I will never work on just one project for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, especially a blanket. So this keeps me happy because I can do 1 row, and if I'm behind, I do the 2 rows and I'm on track again, and then I can go on with my other projects. So this, I've still got quite a lot to do, but I think by the last quarter of the year I will have this blanket finished. And then one other thing I really want to work on now. If you remember, I made a ripple blanket with these minis. I had a lot of minis from Openskyyarns. And I made the ripple blanket with half of the minis, and now I've got the other half left. And what I've decided to do is to, sorry for all the ends, I just made them, and I want to make sure that they are right because I've frogged some of the rows again and weigh them and see how I can get the most out of a full 25 gram mini. And with this I get, with this solid square, I get 5 rounds, and I can make 5 out of a mini. So that is why they are all a little bit like this, because I still want to make very sure that that is what I'm going to do before I cut the little bits of leftovers. So I've only done these 2 minis. This is the other one, other color that I've crocheted. And each, what I do when I want to make something like this and I want to get the most out of a skein, little mini skein like this, I crochet like this. I crocheted 5 rounds, and then I weigh this little square. I've got a kitchen scale in grams, and I weigh the yarn that I've got left after say one, and then again after I've made the second one, I weigh what I've got left on the mini skein. So then I saw that I can get 5 squares, and each of them weighs 5 grams. So I can get 5 squares out of a mini without wasting too much. So this is actually the only piece I'm wasting is this little piece. That's all I'm wasting. So I think I got inspired by a project I saw on Instagram that was made with also made with mini skeins, and she made the solid square, and she squared them. She bordered each one with a beige color or off-white color. So I might do that still, and then she joined them. So I think I will make all the squares first and lay them out, and then see if I want to border them with a light color and then join them all. So I've only got this one made of one mini, and these ones out of the second one, 5 of each. And I've still got quite a few minis left. Here they all are, lovely ones. So this can be a boy baby blanket. The other one is more girly colors, so that's a girl baby blanket, and this is, well, they can definitely be then a boy baby blanket. But I think this one will be larger, I think, because especially if I border each square with a lighter or a beige color. So that's something I want to work on, definitely. And then one other thing I want to show you is a local designer and indie dyer, Beatrix, Snyman. She has a YouTube channel now, Beatrix Dsigns, and she is showing in different sections, different videos. She is showing exactly how to do Tunisian crochet. Now that is something I've never done before, and I saw a very inspiring picture on Instagram. I think I will just look up the name of the Instagram account. I can't remember it right now, and I will also put it in the down bar. And she's making like a patchwork blanket with all the squares are exactly the same size, with her minis, leftover bits of sock yarn and minis. Now that immediately drew my attention, and I decided, with the help of Beatrix videos, you can really go and check it out. She does it very clearly. I learned how to do Tunisian crochet, and this is what I have so far. And I've just started, yesterday I tried to join one square to join as you go. So while I'm crocheting it, I want to join the squares. And I think I had the very beginning is not perfect, but I think I've sorted it out now. And I like how the joining looks. It's just with a slip stitch in the in the square necks on which you are working. So I'm doing it with sock yarn, merino sock yarn, and some of these yarns was hand dyed by me. It was 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago, that I attended a workshop with Carly Denning, a very famous indie dyer in South Africa. She's the person behind Nurturing Fibers. That's available worldwide now. I attended a workshop with her and the ladies from Be Inspired, and she taught us how to dye yarn. I can't remember anything. I can't tell you how I got to what I did, but it's really pretty. This one was dyed by me. We started off with little 10-gram minis, so this is one of them. And I can get 2 squares like this out of these 10-gram minis. So I've divided it so that I can make 2 of them. This one was also dyed by me. It's not so pretty. It's a little bit, I don't know, fruit salad kind of thing. But Tunisian crochet, I like the way that Tunisian crochet, how variegated yarns look in Tunisian crochet. I really like it. I think that's why I wanted to try and do it. This is just one of Oneofakind Yarns odd skein I have. This one was dyed by me as well. I think it's the first little 10-gram one I hand dyed. And this one was also dyed by me. I think it's very pretty. So the thing about Tunisian crochet, it does curl a little bit, but I steamed this with my iron to see what happens. And because it's merino, it really relaxes a lot. So I'm not worried that with wet blocking, it will all lie flat, and obviously you have to do a little edge or a border, and that will also sort that out. But this is a very long-term project because I don't have a lot. It's just a few. This is also another pretty one. Actually, I should not put a shawl there because I think that shawl is stealing the show of what I'm showing. This is another one of the little mini skeins, and yeah, then I've got the 5 grams left over, of which I can make another one of those squares. So this blanket, I will use this for scraps of sock weight yarn, or I will steal when I'm busy with projects, and I can always just make one little square with the yarns I'm busy with, and that way my blanket will grow, but it will be a long-term project. But I'm happy with what I've learned. I really like it. I like the feel of the sock yarn, the merino sock yarn in the Tunisian crochet. It's going to be a lovely blanket. She's also started, if you watch her podcast, her videos, there's a cowl that just, a towel, a Tunisian long that just started. And it's also a lovely patchwork blanket. I'm very, very tempted. I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about yarns, but I'm trying to be good in February. I'm really trying to be good and to just finish some of my works in progress. I think I'm doing a good job. So I might still do it, but maybe not right now, but I'm very tempted. It's really lovely. It's got different sizes of squares. You can really go and check it out. It has just started. The first part came out on Friday. And she explains very well in her videos how to do it, everything. So it's a great way to learn Tunisian crochet. And this is the Tunisian simple stitch. I love it. It's also very calming and mindless, and something that you can do without counting too much or when you're watching something on television. So I think that's all I want to show you today, because that's works in progress. That's currently reachable in my working spaces. There's one that maybe I can quickly go and get it, that I actually wanted to show you as well. Just 1 second. I'm back. I forgot about this because this is next to me where I watch television. So I wanted to fetch it before the time, but I forgot. It's a scarf I started a long time ago. I think I showed it once on the podcast. It's also one of the projects I tackled again that was in hibernation for quite a while. It's just a corner-to-corner scarf. Or what I decided to do with it, because it's 2 strands of merino lace held together. So at the moment, I'm finishing it off now. I'm using these, so I'm alternating that combination with this combination. This is from Linda's Treehouse merino lace, and this is a sample I got from Cowgirl Blues. It's also a merino lace. So I'm using 2 strands together, and I'm doing different combinations of the 2 strands. But I decided that I've got a lot of scarves at the moment, and I started this as a sample for my workshops for marling for a marling project that you can do. So I'm busy with the last piece. This is where I've started to decrease to end it. And I actually want to make a cowl like this. I think it will be a nice wearable cowl. So that is what I intend to do with it. I'm going to just mattress stitch it or something at the sides, and then wear it like this. So I think it will be pretty. And then another work in progress has become a finished object. So as I said, at February will be all about finishing off. I've really used all the small leftover bits from my workshops, because I have a lot of the little small. I had a lot of skeins of Linda's Treehouse in the merino lace that I'm using for the workshops, and I wound them in smaller balls, say of 20 grams, so that more people can use the same color. Now all the little pieces that are left, that's too small to keep in my workshop container, I use in the scarf. So I've used just all the smaller leftover bits in the scarf, and then it can also be a sample. So that is just the last thing I wanted to show you, and I'm glad that I could show you a few things that I'm busy with. I want to thank you once again for watching, and if you're a new viewer and you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Then you will know when I've put up a new episode. Thank you so much for watching and being patient with my struggling to say what I want to say in a language that's not really my home language, but I try, and I'm sure with time it will all get better. And I'm really saying a lot, and I realize that, and I'm not sure. What I've realized is I think it's a thing maybe with people who are not speaking their home language, because they are thinking more before they speak. don't feel so bad about that, because Howie Locatelli in her last episode also said that what will make her very happy if she can say less. So I'm not alone in that one. Have a nice day and enjoy your knitting and your crocheting or whatever you are crafting. Bye.